Hello everyone, my name is Sam Cutri. I'm a Senior Lecturer of Audio at SAE Quantum. Welcome to the Ask a Lecturer panel at our first ever Virtual Open Day. Please feel free to ask any questions in the comments below. Let me introduce you to our panel. First of all, we've got Laurie. He's a Senior Lecturer in Film. We've got Dyer, who's a Lecturer in Game Design. We've got Kitevski, Acting Department Coordinator in Animation and Design, and Angie Liu, Lecturer in Graphic Design. Let's hear a little bit about your story, guys. A little bit of an overview of what you do at SAE and maybe some background experience. Jess, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, so I'm a senior lecturer in the film department, which means that I assist our film department coordinator, whilst I also deliver the Studio One module for the film students. My background is in screenwriting, where I've spent some time in Melbourne, but based in Perth now, and just working alongside some production companies to read scripts, help with treatments, and flesh out some screenplays.
Very cool. And Angie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, my name's Angie Liu and I teach graphic design at SAE Perth. I have a background in design and illustration. I focus a lot on image making and interacting with other disciplines to create design solutions. Yeah, and at SAE I teach a heap of the drawing and image making skills for students.
Very good. And Timmy?
Yeah, g'day. So my name is Tim, and I'm the DC of Animation and Design, and I also teach. So I teach largely animation modules, typically 3D focused modules, but also the studio modules as well. My background is actually game art, 3D game art specifically, where I basically, self-taught my skills, managed to get into the industry, and have worked in the industry as well as the simulation industry, games and simulation industry, for about 5 or so years. So yeah.
Very good. And Maddie, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I've been a game developer for 7 years now, going on 8. My background is primarily in production, so kind of managing teams and the like, and touching a little bit on everything that the teams do. At SAE, I pretty much do the same thing. I teach students the introduction to how you deal with game mechanics and mathematics. We do games production, where it's like actually making a game in an amount of time. I mentor students as well on their final projects. So I do a lot of stuff at SAE.
Very good. And I'm a senior lecturer in audio. I also run a number of studios, work with many artists professionally for producing and engineering their music. Basically been in the music industry for 50 years, and I'm very grateful to be in my position at SAE. Let's have a little talk about the uniqueness of education at SAE and the global reach of SAE. Maybe Jess, can you talk a little bit about why it's such a special place to be at?
Yeah, I mean, SAE is an active production house all year round. So no matter what discipline that you're in, you're actually constantly working with different disciplines to make sure that you collaborate to create the best possible production. So you're not just building networks and relationships within, say, film for myself or students in film. You're actually moving into alternate disciplines to build networks.
That's right. And so working with cross-disciplinary, interdisciplinary work is very, very important in what we do at SAE. And can you speak a little bit about the cross-disciplinary work and maybe something about the studio that we just worked in together?
Yeah, so at the end of the first year, students enter into studio units where one of the learning outcomes is to engage in cross-disciplinary practice with the other disciplines. This means that as a design student, you can apply your skills and techniques to other projects, for instance, a film poster or social branding for a game that's about to be released from game students. This trimester that's just passed, we had an engagement with Jagen Square, where students had to create a multimedia video to go on their Jagen Tower, and that was an awesome opportunity for students to get real-world experience and also challenge themselves with a unique brief and get the exposure that they want.
That's right. Exposure, industry exposure is very important and a critical part of what we do at SAE. Tim, maybe you could talk about the industry partnerships that we've got and your work with that.
Yep. So actually jumping off what Andrew's talking about, so the organisation who runs Yagan Tower, the Yagan Screen in Yagan Square in Perth CBD, is actually Screen West. And we work directly with Screen West with our students to develop the content for the tower. And we've worked across all disciplines except for games at this point. So film, audio, animation, and design have all produced content for the tower. And typically the way that it works is representatives from Screen West come on campus, talk to the students directly, give them a brief in person, and then across the trimester of 13 weeks, they receive iterative feedback from their facilitators, but also the client directly. So they have that direct connection and relationship with stakeholders themselves, which is really important.
Yes, that's right. And a lot of the work that we do in the audio department with Western Australian Music, which is the peak music body of Western Australia, where they do their Wham Fest, we basically set up all their stages, we mix all their bands, very hands-on with Western Australian music and big festivals, Falls Festival and so on that come through. And often our students leave school and go straight into work with these internships that they have during their time at SAE. Matt, can you tell us a little bit about careers, your career, how you got into gaming, and what students might find when they're out there looking into the creative industries?
Yeah. So for games in particular, it's really, really competitive to get work. And so having a really good degree that kind of backs you up is like your springboard into getting into the industry. Was certainly how I got in. I made myself known by studying and discussing with local industry people, which SAE gives you access to as well. And so when I studied and graduated, I started out by doing independent projects, and then I got onto larger and larger stuff until I was releasing commercial games. And even now, in the time that I've been working at SAE, I've already seen a student, before they even actually graduated from their bachelor's, they've gotten a job working in the industry here in WA. So, yeah.
It's exciting times for the creative industries. Every day we're seeing new technologies. Technology is central to all of this. All of these technologies require the media that gets input into these texts for us to view, consume one way or another. Can you talk a little on the future of the creative industries and where you see it going? Indeed, anybody can jump in here.
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting time for the creative industry, mainly because I think everyone's starting to realise that if you want to attract a customer from any kind of business these days, you need to be able to grab them in a visual and audio-based sense. So any business is looking for people to create content for them, and we are a very niche area where unless you've gone through the studies to understand the best way to capture the engagement of an individual or an audience, then it's going to be very difficult to find the correct people to do that. So we are effectively a factory that is creating what every single business in the world is looking for.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Anybody else got anything?
I'm looking forward to, I was going to say, I'm looking forward to getting a game on that Yagan Square screen.
Well, that'll be interesting. Nice. How do we play it?
We've been talking about that among the game staff. Like we've been trying to figure out ways, how will we do that? So it's a consideration that we even have.
That'll be kind of cool. Our virtual showcase was something special, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll supply a link in the bottom of the chat later on. So let's just wind this conversation up. Let's talk a little bit about any advice that we could give students that are looking to either come into SAE or indeed going to graduate. But studying with us, what could you say to students about what to expect and the processes they're going to be dealing with?
Yep, I'll jump on that actually, Sam. So yeah, I think one of the most important things for students, whether they're about to graduate or actually about to enter, is that at the end of the day, it's equally as much about your skill as it is your hard skill of being able to create content. as it is about your skill to interact with other people. It's an element that we call internally kind of transferable skills, but soft skills is what they've sometimes been known as. But this kind of element of professionalism is just as important, without lying, oftentimes more important than actually the skills themselves. If an employer sees somebody who has the right attitude, the right level of engagement, really good communication skill, even if your hard skills, say, are a little bit lower than the next person, the employer will still probably come back to you. So if you have that level of strength already when you enter, you'll do really well, and your hard skills will build up and be really strong. And likewise, if you have strong hard skills, you really need to be working on building those transferable skills, because that's what's going to set you up into a lifelong career.
Indeed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity for students to experiment with this as well through their engagement with different disciplines. So, we're all almost like speaking different languages amongst different disciplines, and, students get the opportunity to work with their transferable skills.
That's right. I mean, every project that I've ever worked on is with more than one person, usually a number of people. And every time that project suffers is when the communication breaks down, as we've seen multiple times in these interdisciplinary projects that students are running. Let's just wind up this panel. It's been great to have you. Thank you very much. Let's just maybe a sentence each to give some insight from your experience in the industry, something that we can leave students with. Jess, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think SAE is a great place to come and study, mainly because you walk away with more than a degree at the end of the day. Most of the time, you'll actually walk away with direct connections into the industry just by virtue of the people that you studied alongside.
Yes.
Yeah. I find that there are a lot of eccentric people within the creative industry, and put them all together at SAE, we get a lot of creativity, a lot of motivation, inspiration from each other, and that's where all the creativity starts.
Indeed.
Yeah. I work today with people that I studied with and graduated with. People that I used to be in class with all the time. So the connections that you make while you're studying at SAE are things that are just going to carry on with you for your entire career.
Indeed.
Absolutely. Also, the time commitment that people put into their projects and the passion is really one of the biggest things that you can get from studying at SAE, because you're working alongside all of these amazing creative people. You yourself will be inspired by that. And when you're in your industry, you'll be alongside that as well. So that's something to look forward to.
Yes, and for me, it's about being around creative people day in, day out. It's a fantastic place to work, and the community spirit at SAE is something to behold. It really is strong, and when you walk in there, you feel the energy. You feel how excited people are to be creating something special, something original. And it's as equal as amongst faculty as it is amongst students. So thank you for being with us today, and we look forward to seeing you back on campus real soon. Thank you.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
You guys.
See you guys.